Hello, welcome back to the Missing Scene podcast. And this episode is the second part of a two-parter on Mad Max. This one is all about Fury Road, celebrating its 10th anniversary. Thank you so much for coming on this Mad Max journey with us. We hope you enjoy. And we're back.
Oh. Music gets me every time.
I think I said this before we got on. This soundtrack for me is one of the most underrated soundtracks. When we talk about Fury Road, I don't think the score gets talked about enough.
And I do wonder if that is just because everything else is so good around it.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this will show me for being a really lowbrow cape shit enjoyer. But I think Tom Holkenborg, or Junkie XL, whatever, take your pick, is one of the most underrated composers working today. I love his score for Deadpool. I love his score for the Snyder Cut of Justice League. What else? He did something else. He did the music to the Terminator, the newest one, whichever one it's called. I can't remember.
Dark Fate. Yeah.
The music to that was pretty good. I really like the stuff that he's done.
And Less Conversation remix.
Yes, yeah.
There is a bit of me that, like, again, in terms of, like, did it get over, did that not get mentioned as much? Because there's part of me that in the way that they did, like, the black and chrome version, I kind of want a version of this that is just fucking engine sounds. Give me...
You can fall asleep to it.
Yeah, give me that as the soundtrack.
Well, I can't believe I didn't mention this during our preamble, our hour and a half long chat of the previous films. One of the things that Miller said when he was writing the first one was he basically envisioned it as a silent film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A silent film with sound. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds a bit oxymoronic, but in the sense that, like,
no talk,
no dialogue, you could still understand the film. And the first Mad Max, you kind of have to have a bit of dialogue, and there is some really indelible imagery, like we were saying, the scene where his wife gets killed, and they bring that back for the opening to the second film. But that is basically completely silent. There's no dialogue in it. But these films, they are really, really good at visual storytelling.
Yeah,
and you could do. I'm not saying it would be. I don't know how well it would. The final result would turn out, but you could do a version of Fury Road without any dialogue.
Easily.
And you'd still be able to follow it. It would still be comprehensive.
I really like the thought of that, of seeing a version of that film.
Sorry, comprehensible. You'd still be able to follow it.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So we start with the monologue right at the beginning.
Yeah, I think we have
so
to.
from this monologue, especially from watching Road Warrior, this is where I started seeing comparisons of, like, Road Warrior, and this is like the beginning bit of the monologue about like the imagery of, like, nuclear war and all that stuff. But yeah, this is the intro.
My name is Max. My world is fire and blood.
Why are you hurting these people? It's the oil, stupid.
Oil wars.
We are killing for gasoline.
The world is actually running out of water.
There's the water wars. Water wars.
Once, I was a cop, a road warrior searching for a righteous cause.
The terminal freakout point.
Mankind has gone rogue, terrorizing itself.
Thermonuclear skirmish.
The earth is sour.
Our bones are poisoned.
We have become half-life.
As the world fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to know who was more crazy. Me or everyone else.
Hello? Where are you?
Here they come again.
Max Rocket.
worming their way into the black matter of my brain.
Help us, man. You promised to help us.
I tell myself, they cannot touch me. They are long dead.
Right, I could have just listened to it.
Yeah.
I had to get that was a bit longer than I originally planned because I had to get some of the roaring, but that roaring of the engines is what, when obviously I experienced it in the cinema, is what made me put my head in my shoulders, because it was just. But yeah, that whole, I just love Tom Hardy's voice in that section. It's haunting. Even like I like the little bits of like, because you can, especially when you watch a film, the double-headed lizard as it's moving, it sounds like radio frequency as it's moving. It's like, and then it's just that whole opening section.
It sounds like the stock audio that they use for Giga counters in movies when people are like tracking how radioactive something is.
Yeah.
Like that real crackling sort of noise. Obviously, it's a mutated lizard that he's biting.
I love the way he stamps it and just flicks his heel up really quick, so sassy, and just starts chewing it. But he is like all hair. When he crawls out of that car, he's just pure. Like, you can tell it's been a long time since he's seen civilization or any form of human being, because he's just been chased all the time, right?
But again, this is kind of like a pick your own story adventure. You can disregard the bits that you don't like. So in my headcanon, I don't massively love Thunderdome, so I choose to imagine that this is taking place like a few years after the events of the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
He has managed to rebuild the Interceptor somehow. So in the prequel comic book, which George Miller has a story credit for, it basically shows how he puts it back together. In the video game, the story of that game is that he is putting it back together, but it doesn't matter because it gets destroyed within like 30 seconds of the movie starting. You can imagine, as somebody who has told you how much I love that car and it's my favourite movie car, how heartbroken I was in the cinema. I was like, hell yeah!
And you like wince every time, don't you?
Yeah, you don't even get like one chase with him in it. And to add insult to injury, it appears later in the film. The War Boys have cannibalized it, and they've turned it. It has a different name, like in the official lore. I think it's called like the Pepsi Spike or something stupid like that. Yeah. It's got some sort of like ridiculous name, but they paint it silver and they put a harpoon gun on the back of it.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace to the coolest movie car of all time.
But it's not the last time we see it.
No, but it's very similar to the Road Warrior. Basically, like I said earlier, everything that happens in the Road Warrior happens in this, but turn up to 11. We open with Max in his signature car in a chase. We don't get really, other than a monologue that opens the film, we don't get any sort of insight into like the particulars of where this is happening, when it's happening, like what's happened to Max before the events of this film. We just know that he's roaming the wasteland on his own, gets involved immediately in a chase, gets fucked up and accosted by people who will basically kickstart the rest of the story. That's like the opening to the Road Warrior.
But also everything about this opening sequence, and maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit here, but like it's so fucking weird. Like, it's sped up in a way that is weird to look at. Like, you've got, it's, again, as someone who didn't have any context for what had come before it, it is a really, like, disarming intro of just, like, imagery. Again, like, everything moves wrong. Everything is coloured wrong.
Yeah, because after that is when he's been captured, isn't it?
Yeah, and, like, that weird, it's all jerky. And, it's... it's a really interesting start that, again, from the moment you're into it, it's like, this does not look or move or behave in the way that any film you have seen in the past 10 years at the very least has even tried to. And it also has that it does fucking explosion with the title card, and more films need title cards. More films.
When it closes in on him.
It's like it's so good.
Yeah, that whole opening sequence is intense from the get go.
Yeah.
It's, well, to be honest, I think it's pretty much, apart from some of the scenes later on where they're on the marshes and under the cover of night and stuff like that, it is intense 95% of the time.
I think that is there's a thing I will get into, and I think one of the things that is so impressive about this, I talk a lot about when I talk about action movies, the way that I like films that one-up themselves or whatever. This film, basically, after this point, doesn't even try to. It just maintains this one, this one swing of momentum that basically doesn't stop from the moment this car hits the ground and he gets dragged out.
So he gets captured by are they called the War Boys, aren't they? The War Boys, they're just these pale painted, scarred, absolute nutbag people. And then they're cutting his hair off. He's a universal donor, and they tattoo his back with all of his details and stuff like that. And he's basically going to be used as a blood bag.
Yeah.
But they to us, he's Mad Max is don't they know who that is? But obviously they don't know who he is. Nobody cares.
Again, it's so interesting that if you think about the way that these films, were. We talked about how they're making their own mythology. By the time you get here, it's kind of starting of this hasn't mattered. He's tried to do stuff and it hasn't. He's still just a dude who is going to be dragged into whatever shit comes next, basically.
Yeah. I can't remember what happened. I can't remember. Oh no. Then after that, this is where we get introduced to Furiosa, Immortan Joe, the Citadel, and the water is being held from the people below who are
don't get addicted to water.
Don't get addicted to water.
Yeah.
Immortan Joe is he's not in it, Brad.
It's like he's in the room with us.
Immortan Joe, when I first saw this, he is a terrifying human being.
Oh yeah.
He's got this breathable sack on the back of his head that moves up and down. He's got this weird see-through kind of six-pack armor, but he definitely doesn't have a six-pack, and he's got this mask over his face which had massive teeth.
Yeah,
which
horse teeth.
At one point in the film, when he shouts, the horse teeth are open.
Yeah,
but everything about him is repulsive. He is this bloated, syphilitic, wart-covered,
struggling to breathe.
He can barely breathe without support from this bizarre ventilation helmet he's got on. His hair is all long and haggard. He puts this sort of white geisha makeup all over his face, but his eyes are all black. He looks like Darth Vader when he gets his helmet revealed at the end of Return of the Jedi. He's overweight, but he's wearing this sort of almost Henry VIII Tudor-esque body armor that has the impression of muscles on it.
He's got so many nipples. He's
got this huge belt that looks like it is a what's the word I'm looking for? A hood ornament for a car that's been put in place of the buckle. He's got the badges of these various sort of maybe they're law enforcement officers that he's killed. Maybe they're people he's conquered. All of this is one of the things that I didn't talk about in our preamble. So much of the costume design in this film has brilliant implied history. Yeah. Every single character, if you analyze their costume, these are characters that only appear for maybe a shot or two. They have a screen time that totals 10 seconds. Their costumes have been thought out from head to tail, from the spurs of their boots to things they've got on their belts, things that are hanging off their lapels, all sorts of stuff that implies maybe this guy was an ex-military person, maybe this guy worked as a paramedic, maybe this guy... this is why I was saying earlier the idea that the Humongous is the Goose character.
Yeah.
The box that he keeps his pistol in, when he opens it up, you only see it for a shot. It has a photograph of a mother and father holding a baby. Do we ever find out what the fuck that's to do with? No. Does it add anything to the film? Not really. Is it fucking cool? Yes. Does it show that he has some bizarre sort of
back history?
Yeah, exactly. Every character that's in this film, all of the war boys, all of the many mothers, their costumes are thought out to the nines. It's sorry for going on this tangent.
No.
If we're going to talk about introducing the Immortan Joe, every element of his costume is implying some form of past conquering or some person that he's killed, that he's cannibalized their uniform or their gear or something. The presence that guy has.
Yeah.
For a guy that, like, other than the toe cutter.
Yeah.
I know this is. I don't mean at all to speak ill of the dead because he died, but like I don't really know him from anything else.
No.
I know he was a thespian who'd done some stage stuff in Australia before Mad Max. But other than the 2 Mad Max films, does anybody really know what he's done?
Mm-hmm.
But the presence that guy has in this film, he's terrifying.
Yeah.
He's fucking terrifying. And he doesn't really, like, as a physical threat, right? He doesn't, like, as I was saying, he's this sort of bloated, old, syphilitic guy. Like, if it came down to hand, you're pretty sure that Max or Furiosa could kick his ass.
Yeah.
But he's still fucking terrifying.
He's an intimidating person.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's all the presence. And then I think as well, obviously, he gets given the intimidation of the fact that he is so high up in the castle compared to everybody else. And that he's surrounded by his gigantic son, Rictus Erectus, his other son, Scrotus. They're all kind of got some kind of like deformity to them, haven't they, or some kind of disability about them. Is the dwarf person in the floating chair? Is that another one of his sons as well? I can't remember his name.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like Harry was talking about earlier with the sincerity thing and sort of touching on Miller having this sort of anti-eugenics thing, like the idea of the Master Blaster character, and then the Lord Humongous trying so perfectly to like cultivate a pure bloodline with no imperfections, and obviously Rictus Erectus earlier. I had a little baby brother. And he was perfect.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's
disgusting.
Yeah,
it's
like there
so
is,
uncomfortable.
and then it get like you as you're finding out what's going on here. So obviously he's at the top of this castle. Like this is, you would expect. This is like it's kind of Roman Emperor-esque in
100%.
it. And it gets like you then meet the women that he's keeping and what is going to happen here. So they send the rig out. They said we meet Furiosa, who is his greatest imperator or whatever. Everyone is going on this massive raid where they've got the fucking
we're going to get bullets from the bullet farm.
Yep.
And gas from Gas Town.
And they've got the
once again, send out my war rig.
Sorry. No, you're good. So to get to the point I was making, we have to like jump over so much world building because
we're going to get back to it. Yeah,
there is just so much world building here. Again, for a film that basically has like 25 lines of dialogue complete. Again, as you were saying, like there is so much backstory. There is so much. But you've got like the mound of steering wheels, and they take their steering wheel and wave it in the air and all this shit. So Furiosa rides out in the war rig, and again talking about the grotesquerie, the mother's milk that he is like. He has these fucking women that he is.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
just like
Ollie's impression. Just done an impression of Rictus Rectus trying some fresh milk that has been sucked out of some giant ladies.
So cultivating this, like it is such a again this like this idea that he is farming water, he is farming literal human beings. It is like such a grotesque version of leadership, and again, like I said, sort of emperors. And
I love how you were talking about the Roman Emperor, because I was talking about earlier how much the original trilogy borrows from like Shogun and samurai films, and this idea that he is this warlord who is literally he's got this harem of concubine women that he's imprisoned, that are literally his sex slaves.
Well, he calls them his wives, doesn't he? Or like his
he is every sort of archetypal villain from the old sort of Shogun samurai and then gunslinger films. He is this greedy
bit of Caligula thrown in there as well.
100%.
So Furious
raises questions about the horse mask, I guess.
Furious is sent out to get bullets from Bullet Farm.
Once again,
gas from Gas Town. But what we don't know at the time is that she actually has another plan. So she has actually stowed away Morton Joe's 4 wives.
Sorry,
4 was.
I kind of we've jumped a little bit. So the opening chase, Max gets his interceptor spun and crashed by people that unknown assailants that we don't know. It gets revealed that he has been kidnapped and taken back to this giant citadel by the War Boys. Max has his hair shaved. He is tattooed and branded by the War Boys. All of this sort of bizarre cult-like ritualistic initiation, branding people like cattle. Max is branded with the what I'm going to say is like the Immortan Joe's insignia. It's like a steering wheel with flames and a skull in the middle of it, and we don't know where he is. He tries to escape, but he fails, and then it's revealed that the Immortan Joe, who is the disgusting guy that we've just been like all feverishly shouting in our mics about for the last 5 minutes, he is this disgusting warlord that has built an empire at the top of this giant mountain. In the base of this mountain is a natural water spring. And the idea is that before the events of this film, somehow, and this doesn't really get explained in any of the additional media or in Furiosa, he and his family have seized control of this water source, and they have built a community around it. At the bottom of the citadel is, I'm guessing, thousands of people.
Yeah.
Right, hundreds minimum, thousands, or maybe even tens of thousands, but thousands of people who are living in absolute squalor. They are like these emaciated, starving people who we are guessing only get access to water once or twice a week.
Yeah.
And it is at the whim, at the behest of the Immortan Joe. He stands at the top of the citadel with this literal giant lever that he turns on and off. This lever activates a pump, and it gives this community access to water. So not only is he physically disgusting and repulsive, but he is keeping thousands of people on the brink of death and starvation because he is literally gatekeeping the water. This idea of scarcity that was in the first few films has gone to the extreme. In the first film, they were just sort of fighting over gasoline a little bit. At the end of the film, you see someone siphoning for gas. In the second film, they're fighting over gas. In this film, it's gone from gasoline to water. Yeah. Now everybody's fighting for literal water. They've gone beyond just fighting for bullets and gasoline. They're now fighting for food and water. And he has a monopoly over this only water source. Everywhere else in every other direction, because there's a shot of somebody looking out of the citadel with a magnifying glass, is desolate. There's no green, there's no water. It's completely barren. And he is the only guy that has access or control over water. Sorry, I just thought that was it.
That's much more succinct than the wanton shouting that we were doing.
And so then he says, as Harry said, he's sending out his war rig, which is a giant...
it looks like an oil tanker.
Yeah, a giant, massive oil tanker, 16-wheeler truck or whatever, 18-wheeler truck that has been outfitted to survive the wasteland. It has all sorts of spikes and cattle gear coming off, cattle grates coming off the side of it. It's been tricked out for like gunman spots on the top that are filled with war boys. The war boys are his sort of fighting force. They are all painted white. They are all sort of... You get the impression they've been given enough food and water to fend for themselves, but they're also starving and emaciated like the people living below the citadel. They are tricked out all over the rig to defend it, and we are introduced to Furiosa, who Harry said is his imperator. She is his best driver. She is played by Charlize Theron, and she is going to drive the war rig to Gastown and the Bullet Farm.
Cool fucking names.
Yeah.
Even
to collect gasoline and bullets. And that's basically it. We don't know anything. We don't know anything else. And then that's it. She sets off into the wasteland. She's got an armed escort of a couple of trucks filled with war boys. But other than that, we don't really know what's going on.
Again, in terms of other little details, because they are important in the grand scheme of things, what I was saying about like the again going off like Roman mythology and whatever, there's a lot of like Nordic stuff of the idea of like these, they will ascend, like the war boys will ascend if they, they have to be witnessed. You're already starting to get the witness me being shouted, and that they are going to die some holy death. He beyond just being a leader, he is sort of creating himself as some god. Like you will sit at the table with me in the afterlife, sort of shit.
How Max is brought into all of this. Sorry to interject, because I forgot. If you remember in the fantastic soundbite that Dan played for us, the people in this world have come to the conclusion that they have become Half-Life. Because they have become emaciated and they've been diseased by the nuclear fallout, the nuclear winter from whatever nuclear war has happened, they have come to the conclusion that they are Half-Life. What that means, we don't really know, but they have come to the conclusion that in order to restore themselves to full life, they need to take the blood of another donor. So Max, who has been kidnapped by the war boys, gets turned into a blood bag, where he has invasively and unconsensually, he has a UV, what's the tool?
IV.
An IV drip put into his wrist, where he has blood forcibly taken from himself.
Kind of like being siphoned, like a car being siphoned.
And put into somebody else. God only knows the amount of venal diseases that they must have caught from this. Yeah. God knows why they don't have an understanding of blood types and how blood isn't universal, and it doesn't exactly work.
Well,
they
do say he's a universal donor, right?
He's like he's like an O
he is some
positive
pure.
or something like that.
Again, it's a case of he is pure in a way that the rest of them aren't. Because he's not, because he's from outside of this.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck this is.
So one of the young war boys who is determined to make his bones and to try and ascend to drive eternal on the Fury Road, like Harry was saying there, reference to all this sort of Nordic Viking mythology. He is determined to go out on this war rig trip.
Isn't it because of, well, before that she turns off, doesn't it? And that's when the war boys get called to action.
Well, no, some of them are already going with her. So there is like a raiding party.
Yeah, excuse me.
And then he is one of the one that gets the call. This is Nux, played by
Nicholas Hoult. They have an armed escort, so her rig has got like 4 or 5 trucks driving with her to protect her. He's determined to go out and make his bones and to prove himself and to ascend and
you and me, blood bag. We're going
exactly. So he grabs Max, who has no clue what the fuck is going on. He's just woken up. He's been kidnapped. And Max is strapped to the front of his car with his blood being intravenously taken from him and given to one of these war boys. That's how Max is brought into all of it. Sorry to have interrupted you, Harry. Please carry on.
Like I said, you are doing the very like accurate description, whereas I'm doing the passionate shouting and waving my arms.
That's what Mad Max is all about, man.
It's all good. Yes, so they head off in the war rig. I know you were saying the V8 Interceptor is the coolest car in film history. If this truck counts, I would beg to differ. Although we'll see more details when we talk about the film that came after this.
You sure you don't mean the big ugly truck that Marion Cotillard gets killed in at the end of of Batman? that disgusting.
Well, my actual choice would be the Red Saab from Drive My Car, which is a very different film. it's a very strange comparison to try and make.
We're forgetting the Mystery Machine here. The Mystery Machine would be my war rig in the wasteland.
Hell yeah. Anyway, yeah, so they head off. Charlie's. So the Imperator, Immortan Joe is like, and bring me my wives or whatever, and then there's like whisperings that something wrong is happening. He bursts into the room, and then what have they scrawled on the floor? Does anyone remember?
Our babies will not be future warlords or something along those lines.
Something along those lines, and then he realizes that she has taken them. One of the women that is being used for milking is like again also plugged up with tubes and whatever have you, is basically then having a go at him, is laying into him of like you.
Oh no, it's the woman that the old lady that looks after his wives, because she gets taken with them into the rig or into the convoy.
And so as they are heading off, and this is when Furiosa then turns away, right? And like some of them are like, oh, it's part of the plan, and then realize it's not part of the plan. This is when we're thrown into the first sort of chase here. Again with fucking Tom Hardy waving around on a stick.
He's
with
talking
this-
to himself. Going,
Yeah, he's
like,
got this
he's
fucking.
got a bit
He's already got the mask on.
Mask.
That is like the least comfortable looking thing in the world. Just like
I think
it looks like a grill of a car
Yeah.
meets some like ancient like torture device.
I think so. This is where he gets like this convoy. I mean, if we're talking about favorite vehicles, fuck me, Immortan Joe's vehicle in this is the one that's like kind of pointed down.
The one that's like three cars like
Yes,
stacked up on
yeah,
each other at
That's
an angle.
cool. What I can't remember who it is. I started watching the special features on the Blu-ray of this, and I can't remember who it is. I can't remember if it was the DP said it. I can't remember who, but they basically described this film, and this is the beginning of it. The first half of the film is a chase film. The second half is a race film.
Yeah.
And that sums the film up
Yeah.
perfectly.
And so as she breaks away from the pack again, a lot of the war boys don't quite know what's happening here. She starts driving off into this fucking fun, like not
Like
even
a
a thunderstorm.
wasteland.
Or the like.
Well, no. So before that is like they're traveling into the wasteland, and then there's like another gang that isn't from the
Yes.
Bullet Farm, that isn't from Gastown, that isn't from the Citadel.
Yeah.
They're the spiky cars
Yeah.
with the motorbikes and that. Who she's driven onto their turf.
Yeah.
And then now they're trying to get the war rig, whilst also there is a convoy heading towards them.
Going back to what I said earlier about these, Miller saying that these are silent films with sound, I think there is, if you needed proof of that, Harry touched on it. The titular character of this film spends the first half literally muzzled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cannot speak. I mean, he grunts a few. What is it he says when he clocks that they've taken his interceptor? I loved this bit in the cinema. He says, "First my blood, now you've got my car," because they drive past in his car. But yeah, he doesn't say anything.
No.
He's literally muzzled. He's got that like grate attached to his face. But yeah, she splinters off from the route, and it's one of the Immortan Joe's sons who clocks it, because I love that. They're not going to Gastown. he's watching them with a telescope.
And then it's Rick to the big one's like, "Where are they going, Dad?
Yeah.
Dad, where are they going?" He's like, "I don't fucking know." So we quickly play the beginning. So this is where we kind of see. So this the soundbite I'm about to play is where Nux and his friend. I can't remember what his friend's called. He's got like his mouth is like stapled, and
he's got a Glasgow smile.
Yes,
he looks like Heath Ledger. I will say, this guy, whoever it is, me personally, I find him really horrendous. Like every line that he delivers is pretty. Oh, it makes me cringe a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is the scene where they're basically everybody's out, and Nux is trying to get Immortan Joe's attention, and he looks at him, and it's like he's been touched by God.
He says, what is it? Sorry, he when they're in the Citadel, every line of dialogue that this guy, I don't know whether it was a direction from Miller, or I don't know whether it's because of the prosthetics he had on his face for the Glasgow smile, but every line that this guy delivers, it sounds like he's doing it through gritted teeth. What is it he says?
Or like, there's like something in his mouth.
If you can't stand up, you can't do war. He speaks like that, every line. But yeah, sorry. Please carry on with the soundbite.
Take from me. Got my blood. Now it's my job.
Now, if there is where you have to talk about what we said before, where if you watch Road Warriors 10 and then Fury Road turns up to 11, the introduction to this convoy is where it is turned up to 11. I can't believe we haven't mentioned yet the fucking
wagon.
guitar,
The doof wagon.
the doof wagon, right? So you've got these 6 drums on the back, and then you just got a bunging guitar who I think he's blind,
got some like mask
in red,
with
and
a
he's
flying
just
V that like has a
and there's-
flamethrower.
yeah, coming out of his, and he's just going, and the whole point of them is to be like you have like war drums. It's
Yeah.
fucking, and it's just
When
it's insane.
When Ollie was sending messages rewatching this, you said about like Judas Priest music video.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
I said this is like a Judas Priest video meets the last Severin Samurai.
this music video. This fucking truck is like heavy metal personified. It is
Yes,
just this
yeah.
fucking barreling through the wasteland with a massive fucking guitar. It's probably the only like instrument like should not exist, but really just incredible. Just fucking.
So yeah, so pretty much the whole next like 10-15 minutes is these spiky cars gang trying to get a hold or get onto the war rig.
Yeah.
Also, the war rig being chased by Immortan Joe and the War Boys and his convoy of what seems like hundreds of cars. And there's the choreography between these fights, like the way that they do it. It's all like it's hardly any CGI. It's all practical, and they're currently, and then basically towards this, they end up going towards what looks like a painting of a sandstorm.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
What Harry said about the last functioning guitar, I'm so glad Harry said this, because in my notes on my phone, I'd written down something similar. Not to overthink this film and its world and everything, but this is a completely like utilitarian universe where so many things have been cannibalized and a purpose built and stuff like that. Everything that the characters are wearing, I spoke about the costumes earlier, everything is there for a reason. And you like to think that in this world of scarcity, people have only kept what's functional and they've maintained stuff. So I like to think that somewhere in this world, before the events of this film, the Immortan Joe sat down and said, no, we must keep this guitar functional. And there's some guy in the Citadel, and his only job is to make sure that this guitar is well maintained and oiled and tuned. And they've spent all of this time and money scouring the wasteland to find replacement strings and amplifying materials and chords and stuff, just for the sole purpose of having it look fucking cool when they go into war.
Again, right, it is like in the way that you would have a guy beating a drum in like
100%.
the old sort of medieval like
100%.
Like that is this version of it, and it is the coolest shit in the world.
It's
But
so
I like to
fucking
you compare that to Max, right, and his outfit in the Road Warrior, where like everything that he's wearing, even down to his leg brace, is only there because it's functional, and he doesn't have anything on his person that he doesn't absolutely need to have. This is like the complete opposite of that. It's excess
It's
to
an
11.
extravagance.
Why the fuck would you spend all that time making sure that this fucking wagon is hooked up to all of these amplifiers? Because it looks fucking cool.
I always think it's also a kind of like a weird intimidation thing.
Exactly like Harry was saying.
Because you can
100%.
hear it. Like, you can hear that for miles. And
Yeah.
if you're in that Roy, you're going to be like hearing that constantly.
You think about the days of like the Roman Empire when the legionnaires would go in, and like Harry was saying, you'd have somebody in the back who would stand there, and their whole point, they would literally be a war drummer who would come along with instruments to sort of make sure that you're moving to a rhythm and to intimidate people.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that Harry...
What if that rhythm was fucking Painkiller?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, there is... the reason why I said Judas Priest of all bands is because
they fucking rule.
Sorry. Yeah,
they do rule.
There is a video where they have a flame-throwing guitar. And in the...
But also, they love fucking leather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, Rob Halford should be in a Mad Max movie.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I can't believe they didn't put him in it. And he comes out on stage on a bike as well.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
There is... you'll be able to see this when you're listening to it, because that's how time works. The Instagram post that I am going to put up when this when this episode releases, I have made a Lego version of us stood with Mad Max, and in the Lego version, Dan is holding the doof guitar with the flamethrower coming out of it. Even that, the doof wagon.
The
doof wagon is such
so
a good
fucking
one.
cool.
It's such a cool.
But yeah, sorry, we'll get onto the sandstorm.
Yeah, so the sandstorm is, so they head into this sandstorm, and it's not just any type of sandstorm. Like, there is tornadoes in it. It's like fucking gigantic tornadoes.
Tornadoes inside tornadoes.
Inside tornadoes, and there's like lightning. Like, you could drive into it and you'd be shitting your pants.
Yeah.
Like, cars end up getting swooped into the tornado, and it looks like hell on earth. It looks insane. And then I don't think the Warwick crashes. Oh no, so Nux in his car.
He's like, do it. This is when we first
Yeah,
start
he
seeing
does
the
that.
chrome
Yeah,
properly.
the chrome
So
in the
shiny,
mouth.
so
Yeah.
chrome,
So they end up crashing. Tom Hardy's trying to get off of the car at this point. He's trying to make his way into the car because he's got off the front, and then they end up crashing, and then it kind of goes black.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we see is basically just a mound of sand, and then it's
So
Max
I was
coming
convinced
out
it
of
was a mountain, right? Like
Was you?
everyone has that, right? Of like this is like
perspective
so,
of it, yeah.
like it's such an odd shot, and then it moves like it's so well
Yes,
done.
yeah.
This, again, that you don't even know what you're looking at. So yeah, as he wakes up, he's still like chained to Nux at this point,
Yeah, and
right?
he
And Nux is
goes
like
to
half dead,
yeah.
and he's like dragging him towards.
Well, he goes to shoot his hand off with the double sawn-off shotgun, but then it fucks up and it doesn't work, and then he sees further down the road is the war rig, and he ends up carrying Nux and then making his way, and this is where we first see properly his four Immortan Joe's 4 wives. Five wives. It is five wives.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to interject with a tiny little classic Ollie style overthinking nitpick. But it's just one of the things that I really, really appreciate about these films and why I love them compared to like other post-apocalypse games and films and stuff. So many, like we were talking about earlier, Fallout, Last of Us, Walking Dead, pick your poison for post-apocalypse stuff, right? Borderlands. So many of these things, the weapons and the cars, they just work 100% of the time without fail. What I love about Fury Road and the Road Warrior, they show things like dead rounds and guns jamming and things not working properly. It happens in Road Warrior. He comes across a guy who happens to have 2 rounds that will fit his shotgun perfectly, but they're both duds. He tries them and they don't work. He goes to shoot off Nux's hand in this one, and it fizzles. It fizzles. The round is dead, right? And then I think in Thunderdome, he tries a long slide pistol at one point, and it jams and stuff. That's just like a tiny little detail that Miller has put in that just adds to the world building, because in a reality where the world has fallen to shit, you wouldn't be servicing your guns and oiling your cars and things all the time because you can't.
Yeah.
So the idea that these things are going to work all the time is laughable.
Yeah.
And I like that they put in that sometimes not only are bullets a massive scarcity and you can't always get them, but they don't always work.
Yeah.
Guns jam, things fail, machines break down. They're going to. These haven't been maintained or looked after for a long time.
Well, we see that throughout the film as well, especially with the war rig. We see that the war rig sometimes struggles and needs maintenance all the time.
It's like
even
a living
even
thing
as
that
it's
they
going,
have to sort
even
of-
as it's driving, they have people fixing it as it's going.
Yeah. So I also want to say that this fight between Max and Furiosa, where he's chained to Nux, it might be for a film that is basically a long, like one uninterrupted fight scene.
Yeah,
I think it's my favorite fight in the.
It's so inventive. The pure idea of it is just very clever.
And again, you don't. Sorry for me gushing about this franchise and how much I love Mad Max. One of the things, if you compare Mad Max to other action characters that we love, right? Whether it's John Matrix or Dutch from The Predator or whatever, right? John Rambo. So many of these characters, I don't want to use the phrase have plot armor, but they are just like they win every fight they get into with relative ease, and it's like they hardly take any punishment and they are just amazing. And that's fine because those films are entertaining and that's what they're going for. But what I love about the Mad Max films is he gets the fuck beaten out of him all the time. He gets 10 bells of shite knocked out of him all the time, and he barely survives this fight against Furiosa.
It's only because he gets help from Nux that he actually is able to hold her off.
And I love that. It's part of the reason why I like the John Bernthal Punisher. He takes some punishment in that show, right? And it shows. In The Road Warrior, I've always had this sort of like headcanon like got the impression that if him and Vernon Wells, the Mohawk guy, were to actually have a fight,
Max is dead.
Max is going to get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
That guy is doing backflips and shit.
He does the fucking
he's jacked as fuck. He's backflipping all over the place for
With
no
his
fucking
arse out.
Exactly. If him and Max were to actually have an actual fist fight,
He'd lose.
If he won, it would be by the skin of his teeth. And that's what I really like about these films. Like, you don't actually know whether Max is going to make it out alive.
Yeah.
And in this fight with Furiosa, she genuinely has him on the ropes for the majority of it. And it's only because at the end he managed it. What does he do?
Basically, he gets Nux. He's holding her down. Nux has the magazine to a gun.
Oh yeah, and he puts
it in, and then it just goes, and then to stop the fight, and then holds it, and then he pretty much from that he takes the war rig. He hijacks it, the war rig, and just leaves them and just drives off.
Mugged off.
But he gets mugged because he's got a fucking what's it called?
A
kill switch.
Yeah,
Kill switch. But one of the things it's a grotesque thing is the chastity belts on the wives are fucking horrible.
Yeah.
They're like these hard leather things that have these teeth by like the vagina. It's a horrible thing to look at. It's just one of those, and obviously they cut them off. They're cutting them off when he arrives, and one of them kicks him as they run away. But looking at that is kind of gave me the feelings of, you know, in Seven, the guy that has the knife strap on thing. Yeah. I was looking at that and I was thinking to myself, like, it's not that level. That still makes me feel ill just thinking about that scene, but. Yeah, just,
he made me wear it. He made me fuck her. It's not.
Yeah, it is horrible. But that chastity belt gave me that feeling of thinking of myself like they're wearing them, and it was just horrible.
The cinema in our town did a Fincher season at the start of the year, and me and my friend went and saw. They only did 4 films, unfortunately. Didn't do all of his films. But me and my friend, we went to watch 7, and during that scene, you could hear a pin drop for a movie that is like 29 years old now or whatever. Yeah. Like it was. Oh my god! It's
one of the most memorable scenes without there being any violence. It's horrible.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, back onto your own. So he drives off with the kill switch. Oh no, he drives off with the rig. And then it's like literally about 10 seconds later. The rig cuts out and it stops, and then would you look at that? Yeah. Furiosa just turns up, by the way. This is my rig. I know how to work it, basically.
Yeah.
And then he ends up basically joyriding with them. Well, it's not a joy. It's fucking definitely not joyous. But and then they end up all banding together to. Well, he doesn't actually know where he's going yet. She hasn't said where they're going, has she? No. But I can't remember what the next scene is after that. Oh no!
Well, they head towards they're heading towards a canyon at this point, right? She's like,
because she's dropping. Yes,
she's like, I've got a deal. I've got like she's made plans with someone else. This is more than just her like escaping. She's got plans for it. But then when they get there, they realizes it's like a biker, like dirt bike gang.
Yeah. So she pretty much says the plan is that they'll let us through for gasoline. And they'll basically blow up part of the canyon to stop the others coming through. What struck me was that obviously these people that are on the bikes, I think, are the same gang as the spiky car gang at the beginning.
Potentially, I don't know.
I was thinking stuff like, why didn't they? Where's the communication in this gang, man? Like, surely they know that rig is going towards them anyway. I think it's just me probably being pedantic.
If you want a expansive history of the various factions in the wasteland, the video game, basically all of the groups that are in the movie. So the guys from Gastown, the dude from the bullet farm who has a judge's wig made out of bullets, 50 cal rounds. All of those groups, the bike gang, the spiky cars, they are all different characters that you encounter in the video game, and they are expanded upon greatly. Like you learn where they come from. They all have their own. So the Immortan Joe, he trades in water and milk. So those are the two things that he barters with. The Bullet Farm, they obviously barter in munitions and rounds, and then the Gastown people, they trade in gasoline. And there's like a mutual understanding that's been before the events of the film, they all trade regularly with each other.
Yeah.
So they trade milk and bullets and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, sorry, I should know off the top of my head, but I haven't played the game for a while. But yeah, that group with the spiky motorbikes, they play a big part in the game.
Okay. Okay. But then it all kind of goes a bit to shit.
Yeah.
And then they can hear the convoy approaching them, and then they kind of start shooting at her, and then Mad Max starts driving the rig off, and then it's another chase scene between the bikes and the rig. And do they end up? Oh no, the gang end up blowing it up anyway.
Yeah,
before
they
convoy
blow it up
arrive.
before they get there. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my favourite lines from that is the bullet farm guy when they're trying to everything's all, and he just goes, all of this over a family squabble or something like that. And it's just like, it genuinely is just, just like a family meltdown running away.
Yeah.
So then they get blocked off, but Morton Jones not having any of it, is he?
Yeah.
He's just like, fuck this, and he just basically revs his way up with his monster truck.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the next bit is after that.
And then so this is then probably like the big chase on the first way there, right? This is when you start getting the people on the stilts, and is this the big one, or is this the way back? Or is
no, that's on the way back.
Oh, okay.
So after this is where Immortan Joe, basically it's then just Immortan Joe, I think his son Rictus in the truck, and then they're hammering it towards the rig. So it's just between the rig and Immortan Joe's car. And this is where Nux is on the car with him, and he basically Nux knows that there's a way to get onto the rig.
Yeah.
And this is the next soundbite, actually.
Immortan, if I get on the rig, there's a way inside.
What is your name?
It's Nux. I'll pike her in the spine. Keep her breathing for you.
No. Put a bullet in her skull. Stop the rig. Return my treasures to me. And I myself will carry you to the gates of Valhalla.
Lie away then.
You will ride eternal, shining and growing. Return! Open the door!
Here we go.
So what happens there is Nux basically gets given a gun from Immortan Joe, and he gets thrown onto the rig to go and basically put one in Furiosa's skull. His chain gets caught. He trips over. He drops the gun. Immortan Joe just drives off going, mediocre. And then he basically just gets fucked off and then ends up jumping this sweet bit of rock over the rig in front of them. And then is this where it ends with one of the wives is pregnant, expecting a child.
It's not Zoe Kravitz.
No, it is
Huntington. It's
we'll find out, but
we're looking wildly unprepared.
But so one of his wives is pregnant, and she's basically hanging out the door trying to stop them from shooting Furiosa.
She used herself as a human
shield. And then she's outside the rig, and then the rig is about to go into a bit of a cliff. She dodges it, comes back out. She's about to get back into the rig when the door breaks off. She falls out, and then Immortan Joe swerves to dodge her, but then ends up rolling over her, and then Immortan Joe's car's totaled, and the rig just keeps on going.
Yeah.
And Max is like, I saw her go under the wheels. She went under the wheels. And I think after that, we don't go straight back to Joe holding her, do we?
No, the rig carries on, but it gets bogged down in that marsh.
Yeah, so it starts getting to like the nighttime stuff. You've got the organic mechanic, isn't it? Who's working on the... Yes, you got it. He gets...
Are you gonna? Sorry.
So he gets fleshed out in the next one. We find his backstory, but it's such a you've got Immortan Joe who thinks that this is the next generation. This is the future or whatever, and you got this fucking jackass like spinning the umbilical cord around. It's like literally like the unborn fetus he's literally like swinging it around by its leg, like nope, nothing we can do.
So is it pretty much the rest of the convoy have made his way through, and they're cutting open his wife
like
to see if the child had survived, and this is where they find out the baby would have been perfect. It would have been a viable human.
Looking
That's where
at
he's
his genitals to be like, it's
it's
a boy, it's a brother.
It's the thing is, he's just slamming the baby on the side. It's horrible.
One of the things that routinely gets brought up when people discuss Mad Max is the blend of action and farce, and there is quite a lot of humour. I showed you guys in our little break the clip from The Road Warrior, and there is quite a lot of absurdity and humour in these films, and they are quite funny. But if you actually sit and think about what is happening here, the Immortan Joe is cutting open his dead concubine.
She's not even dead. Is she even dead at this point?
I think she is.
Or is she dying?
And
they're just like, save the baby.
It doesn't really. It is equally barbaric whichever way, whether she's alive or not. She has been run over. She has gone under the wheel of a multi-ton vehicle. He has then dragged her into the back seat of his car, and he's getting a man who is called the organic mechanic to vivisect her, literally to split her open and pull her unborn fetus out of her to inspect its viability.
Yeah.
It is dead by this point, and he holds it up by the ankle. As Harry said, he then spins the umbilical cord around like he's Gene Kelly with a cane, right? Like a lasso. It's disgusting. It's grotesque. It's nightmarish. But in the same way, because it's maybe bookended with Rectus going, "Oh, little baby brother," or whatever. It's almost so absurd. It's funny.
So there's
it's disgusting. It's horrible when you actually sit and think about what's actually happening.
Also, I think a lot of backstory here in terms of what Rictus is, and again when we're talking about costumes and stuff like that, he is just as obsessed with having a baby brother. Like his leg armor is like melted baby doll, like baby faces, like almost as if he like this being Immortan Joe's son presumably, but has always been like, you still didn't make it, you weren't 100%, you weren't what we wanted, and so like babies are still his obsession. Like his armor is made out of like almost like made out of baby imagery. It's
he's got some sort of like bizarre
both him and his brother, the what was the name of the
Scrotus?
And Scrotus, like both clearly not there. Like they are still children that have that are grown up and whatever, but like are not with it at all.
Like a Fredo Corleone complex going on. Like he's the older brother, but he's not quite the one that the Immortan Joe wanted. He's not the correct heir to the Citadel, and so he's been brainwashed into. We haven't really spoken that much about the brainwashing that's gone on to the rest of the War Boys. How this sort of bizarre sycophantic fanaticism, like they literally live to die. That is their entire purpose. They're told that they are Half-Life, and the only way they can achieve purity is by dying in the name of the Immortan Joe.
Yeah,
it's like and everything that Nox has said up until this point is just it's all in it's pathetic. It's all in purpose. When him and Max defeat Furiosa, Max is thinking, right, like, how can I get out of this? He's trying to take the raw rig, and immediately all Nux is thinking is like, what are you going to ask for? I'm going to ask for this. And then Max, that's my jacket. He's like, you can ask for more than a jacket. It's like it's this really sickly fanaticism that's going on.
We also see, so as this stuff is going on in sort of the nighttime stuff, we haven't mentioned one of the other really grotesque characters in this like parade of grotesque characters. We see the People Eater here, right, with all of his nipple rings, who's constantly like.
Right, so one of my notes I wrote.
We will get more onto nipple rings in Furiosa because the nipple rings are surprisingly important.
The fetish iconography, like from we were talking about Vernon Wells in The Road Warrior.
Yes.
Not I'm trying to word this delicately. This is very sort of reductive semantics, but to break it down in sort of like really, really, really simplistic terms, Max is this very stoic, traditional archetype of masculinity who is this completely... he gets offered. He even gets offered by the Papagallo in the second one this idea of coming away with us, nothing to do but breed. He is this completely reserved, doesn't speak, just like monolith of masculinity. And all of the villains in these films are these ultra queer-coded, bizarre, fetishistic, nipple rings, arseless chaps, BDSM gears, dog collars. And this film doubles down on it. Like, there's a guy who his literal defining trait, like Harry said, is that he has nipple rings, but not just rings, like clamps, and he's caressing and stroking.
Because he's the guy that's like the bookkeeper, and he's basically locks that to him via his nipple chains.
Is he in charge? Is he in charge of Gastown? Isn't he?
Yes. So he gets that at the end of Furiosa.
And by the way, we say nipple chains and nipple clamps because he has holes cut in his shirt.
Yes,
so
it's
you can
specifically
and he's
for
just
the nipples.
sat there. Rubbing it in his car,
stroking his
so
nipples.
Odd.
He
also has like a metal nose where I'm assuming his nose is caved in or something. He has a metal nose and he has a gargantuan foot from a disease.
It's like I'm saying. So like
you said syphilitic, and that
is
a sort of traditionally like
shorthand for
in medieval like overindulgence
100%.
and that sort of stuff. Like these people have overindulged, and again, he's the people eater. So we're assuming he's a cannibal. We're assuming he's the one who's just straight up chomping on some humans.
And like I was saying, going to like this really reductive, like old Hollywood way of like trying to portray the hero as a hero and the villain as a villain. It's going from like the James Bond playbook of all of the villains in these films in some way are disfigured or like. And I'm not saying whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, and there are some people that have said that's quite an outdated way to dress up your villains. But Max is like this ultra macho, traditional old guard masculine guy who is like completely straight, as much as you can be in the wasteland. He's like this clean cut guy. All of the villains they're either extremely disgustingly like disfigured. Like the people eater has like a gangrenous foot that is like bound up with ropes because he's like infected with gout and shit.
Yeah.
Or they're these ultra sexualized BDSM fetishistic just running around with dog collars on and nipple clamps. Like you can tell who's the villains in these films and who are the the heroes very easily.
That being said, I would say it handles it better than a lot of other stuff that do.
This
doesn't, and again, my catchphrase on this of obviously if you want to hear people talk about like disability in film and presentations of that, you can find people far better than us talking about it. But this isn't as necessary. Like this isn't just that guy's bad because he's got a scar. That guy's
like
bad
the James Bond
because
films. 100%.
It is much more like this is a symptom of something greater. I would say would be a lot of it again of the way they live. And this is the people that are it very much frowns on the idea of like they're trying to be something perfect. A lot of the reasons why these guys are so fucked up and why shit starts going wrong for them is because they are trying to do something that they don't need to. Like they're attempting something that attempting the perfect child or whatever is not something that's going to happen. But again, you can find people talking about the presentation of disabilities in this film far better than we ever could.
No, I agree.
I agree.
Harry put the disclaimer on the pretty ham-fisted point that I was trying to make.
No. It's got again, right? Like it's stuff that is worth talking about. We are not fucking qualified to talk about a lot of it. And then so as they are in the swamp, so actually I did want to ask Ollie about this because this is the bit that I remember you saying you weren't that into in terms of it all being
the
shot
colour.
day for night.
The day for night stuff.
I really like it.
I really like how. I like how false everything in this, like every color in this film.
It's oversaturated.
Yes,
it
and
is
I think
very bright. Yeah.
I think also in terms of from a practicality point, the alternative of this would be shoot it with they shot it in a fucking desert. Like if you shot this with lights, it would either be pitch black and it wouldn't work, or it'd be
that kind
realistic
of moon
in
blue.
a way.
Yeah.
Not to bring up continuity again, but even down to the continuity of the shooting schedule in Mad Max. So, sorry, in The Road Warrior. The Road Warrior was shot mainly chronologically, but exactly like you were saying, the equivalent would be trying to go for actual nighttime shoots. Yeah. In The Road Warrior, when Max... So they did do that, because obviously this is way before digital filmmaking. They didn't have the option of colour correcting, and if they did, it would be this long, laborious, chroma key, like chemical correction and stuff. In The Road Warrior, they do loads of stuff that is shot at night, but because obviously in Australia in the winter, nighttime is a very, very limited span of hours. There is, in the sequence where Max escapes the compound in The Road Warrior, it goes from pitch black nighttime to dusk to dawn to pitch black about 3 times in the space of 60 seconds. So I can concede and say the equivalent would be you'd get this jarring, well, I thought it was nighttime like 30 seconds ago. Now it's broad daylight and now it's nighttime again.
But
because I will hold my hands up and say I completely get what they're going for. It's just me.
That is fair.
I will say, in terms of day for night stuff, it does look very good. I mean, compare that to like, I don't know, the like Deliverance, for example, that has some of the worst day for night stuff I've ever seen. It's blatantly broad daylight. They've just turned the exposure down a bit, and it's just like, I get what they're going for. What I do love about the marsh sequence, and going back to the score, when does anybody have the name of the bullet farm guy who has the bullet wig on?
No,
Don't
but
know the actor, no.
So he has the only vehicle that can really go
he's
on
got
the
like
marshes.
the ATV.
The character, do we know what his name is? I can't remember off the top of my head. Doesn't
Charles-
really matter. Anyway, when his car starts to slow down, the score is doing that same sort of like bombastic and as his car starts to slow down, the guitar goes and the score slows down and then stops as as if the engine is giving out. And it's so cool. And I only picked up on it like the other night when I was rewatching it. And I sound like a madman trying to describe it, but please watch the film. You'll know what I'm talking about. As the cars start to slow down, the score slows down with them, and it's great. It just adds so much to it. Charlie's trying to find the name of this guy because he does.
So yeah, but in the day-night swamp section, it is just the bullet farm man that ends up chasing them with a couple of others, and he's just shooting them, and they're like, does he know that he's just shooting at us, kind of thing?
Possibly my favourite moment in the film. Furiosa using her sniper rifle.
Oh, so good.
Shoots out the bulb of his searchlight, and it blinds him.
And he's got the flare in his face, and
the
he's going,
guy is trying to
hold it closer. It's there. Hold it closer. It's there.
And then he keeps chasing them with like the blindfold
and
on,
like going,
bleeding from the eyes. There's like it wasn't to try and call
Wagner or something like that.
It wasn't trying to call you out, but I think it leads to how hyper stylized this is and how much a lot of the shots in this could look ridiculous in the hands of a lesser filmmaker. And again, I think the day for night stuff is something like that. This fucking shot of like directly at the camera, like guns akimbo to either side
like
of
two
it.
Uzis in his hand.
Screaming basically. And we also just
So
before
good.
this, so this is happening as they're like they're like trying to use
they're
the
basically
one
like,
tree in the wasteland.
Yeah, and they're
right?
putting like boards underneath the wheels for them to grip onto.
Again, there's a very
I
like
think Charlie
practical-
has the name. Sorry.
Major Kalashnikov.
Major Kalashnikov.
That's better than the bullet farmer. Why did you
Better known as the bullet farmer.
Wow.
That is such a sick name.
The one thing in this is that all the names are very
it's
unique,
so
and
good.
no other film could have names like this.
Across all of them. The toe cutter.
Yeah.
The Lord Humongous.
Auntie Eternity.
Yeah.
It's just,
you're forgetting Auntie Wow from Megalopolis.
Major Kalashnikov.
Major Kalashnikov.
But
So they're trying to use the tree as an anchor to
again,
get
it's
out
a lot of
the-
like how you physically maintain this truck. How are you going to get this out of this situation? And on the route, we also see. So around this time, we see the dudes on the stilts, right? Which aren't explained, but they're like crow people, and they're like pointed out of just like they're scavengers, and then nothing more is said of that. That will come back in a bit. Creepy fucking image.
I'm a man who do not like people on stilts whatsoever. That bit did creep me up a little bit. So after it doesn't. There's not another. What's after this? I can't remember.
So
is this where they find? So they ride through the night. And then they turn up in part of the desert and they see like a woman in a
so they managed to deal with the bullet farmer. Does he die?
It gets blown up. So basically Tom Hardy walks off. He's like, I'll be back in a second.
Yeah.
Walks off, kills like all the people that are in the on that little kind of like tank thing off screen. There's an explosion in the background. Then he comes back covered in blood and they're like, is he all right? He's like, oh, that's not his blood.
Yeah.
And then he goes to wash himself with water, but it's milk. He's like, what's this? Oh, it's mother's milk. So he just washes himself with it anyway. and he's got a shit ton of ammo, shit ton of guns.
Yeah.
And then they carry on riding through the night to the day, and this is where they come across what seems to be a stranded naked woman in like a tower.
Yeah.
And then Furiosa gets out and basically says, I can't remember. She says she's one of the
many mothers.
The many mothers. And then the woman in the tower does like some kind of call, comes down. Some people arrive on bikes, and it turns out that they are the faction that they were looking for, that Furiosa was once part of.
I will say, because this is basically entering the third act. This is like the beginning of the finale of the movie. We have glossed over. There is quite a lot of character development that takes place in like many road movies. There's loads of conversations that take place in the cab of the truck between Nux and some of the wives, and then Max and Furiosa. We have glossed over it a little bit, but it's not like that's the brilliance of this film. It keeps up such a breakneck pace. Like
it's never pausing for dialogue. It's happening while this is going in.
So it may seem like we've glossed over it. It's not because we haven't done our prep or we don't know the film that well or whatever, or for lack of passion. It's just because it's so well integrated into the story that, like Harry said, it doesn't pause stupidly for like, let's have a big dialogue dump or a trauma dump moment. It just happens naturally as the chase is ongoing.
Yeah. I think this film very much is, as well, it's all about what's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
They don't really look into the backstory or ask about the backstory of Max. All the Furiosa does just ask what his name is.
Yeah.
And obviously he doesn't, at this point he doesn't say anything, but everything that happens in this film is about what is happening here and now. You find out the little bits about, the Citadel, and you find out tiny bits that are, but you could literally just go into this and just watch it for what happens in that moment. Not needing to know what's happened in the past.
For sure.
Not needing to know what's going to happen afterwards. It's that type of film it's a here and now film.
But then this bit is probably the biggest backstory bit we get in terms of she's like, Furiosa is like, so where is the green place? Like, this is where she has wanted to get to. This is, we kind of learn a paradise that, she has dreamed of, that she came from. Again, this will get fleshed out further when we get into Furiosa, the film itself. And then it's told, like, you've been through the green place, and that.
Did you come through the swamp? Well, then,
you've come through it.
Yeah, there is nothing left. She has brought them out on a chase for perfection. Or again, she has looked for perfection in her own way and has found out that just doesn't exist.
And it's just devastating for her. She walks off, and there's that amazing shot where she's just like. She's taken off her like mechanical arm, and there's just the wind blowing the sand dunes. She just falls to her name. Yeah, it's such a
Charlize Theron is like, it is so.
She is so good.
We talk about obviously this is a Mad Max film. If we are being honest, it's not a Mad Max film. Like, already Furiosa was the thing here. Like,
we'll touch on it now. Do you remember all the hate that this film got?
No.
It's just Mad Max doesn't talk.
Oh, and people didn't realise
it's called Mad Max, and Mad Max doesn't talk. And I was like, "Well, have you seen the Mad Max film?"
Yeah. Like in Road Warrior, he has like 17 lines. It's not a lot.
Oh, he just kind of joins halfway through, and interrupts something that's going on. Yeah, like you've never seen a Mad Max
like a wanderer.
film.
Yeah, like that is that is kind of the bit.
Well, in the Road Warrior, he only really joins their cause out of necessity.
Yeah.
He has no other choice. He tries to leave. He says no thanks, I'm leaving. And then he gets in his Intercept, drives off. The only reason he goes back is because he gets fucked. They blow up his car, and he has no way of escape.
I was going to say also, like, his motivations in this up until this point. He's not a good guy. Like, if this is your first introduction to it.
We'll get onto this when we get into the eponymous missing scene of the Missing Scene podcast. My missing scene is going to build on this because I would have included one or... We'll get to it, but he's not a good guy. He is Mad Max for a reason. Yeah. And this is the first point in the movie where he kind of has, or at least we are made privy to the fact that he may have like an ideological reason to help them or to be invested in their cause. But he doesn't really seem to give a fuck about the wives or whatever.
At this point, he has gone along with it because they have a vehicle, they have a way to move. He is their way out.
That's literally Harry, you need to watch The Road Warrior.
You need to watch it.
You would love it so much.
I can't. If you for the amount of love that you love Fury Road, you will.
I know.
You will
I
love
probably
Road
will.
Warrior.
It's,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We need to. Anyway. So she has a breakdown. Then there's another nighttime scene where basically all the wives and all the many mothers are having conversations. They're talking about the past, and one of them shows all the seeds of all these like that she's kept. That's for like like trees and all basically all fruit and vegetation. And then Furiosa and Max have a kind of a small discussion about what's he gonna do, and he's decided that he's just gonna leave. And then the morning after, Max is watching them all ride off on their motorbikes, and he's just sat there, and then he has like a kind of weird vision of it's like his daughter who's like constantly haunting him throughout the film, or he sees visions of his daughter throughout the film. He gets another one.
Which again, what daughter?
Yeah, so that
Yes,
was what I was
yeah.
going to say.
So
Right,
it's not. I don't think it is. I think it's something that has happened in between Thunderdome and
This
Fury
Mad Max.
Road.
Yeah, because it's also like credited as Glory the Child, I believe. Like not
Yeah.
Sprog. It's a different.
it's-
So there is something.
Unless it's not
I
his
don't-
kid.
I don't think
Again,
it
we
is.
don't- we
I
d-
think
But we
it's-
never told, are we?
No.
'cause in the monologue, he sort of hints at something that has happened.
Yeah.
But
Even if that's even real, or if that again, he's like the voice is getting into my head. Like there's some history, but again, we don't know. We don't know,
Yeah.
or what is just the wasteland having its effect of being the wasteland by this point.
So yeah, he has this vision, and then he looks down, and he's kind of coming to a realization about something, and then he goes after everybody on their bikes because they're going to on the salt flats. They're going. It's like a 2,000-mile ride on the salt flats, and this is the conversation he has with them.
All right. This is your way home.
We go back?
Back?
Yeah.
I thought you weren't insane anymore.
What are they saying?
He wants to go back from where they came.
Citadel. What's there to find at the Citadel?
Green.
And water. There's a ridiculous amount of clear water. And a lot of crops.
It's got everything you need, as long as you're not afraid of heights.
Where does the water come from?
He pumps it up from deep in the earth, calls it aquacola, and claims it all for himself.
And because he owns it, he owns all of us.
I don't like him already.
It'll take 2 weeks to skirt the wall of mountains.
No. I suggest we go back the same way we came. Through the canyon.
It's open, we know that, right? He brought all his war parties through.
So we take the war rig and we charge it right through the middle of them. We can decouple the tanker at the pass. Shut it off behind us.
Kaboom.
So that is pretty much their plan in a nutshell. So they're gonna make their way back to the Citadel the one way that they're probably least expecting it, which is straight back the way they came.
Drive
And
a fucking truck into them.
drive a fucking truck into them. So yeah, and this is where I said before, this is where the chase film now becomes a race film, because it is now a race between Furiosa, Max, the many wives, and Immortan Joe's wives against Immortan Joe and his convoy of war boys and scoundrels and the fucking nipple rubbing man, I've forgotten his name, people eater and all that. So that is their plan.
Yep. And so this is the chase with like dudes on fucking like
it's
sticks.
like, what are those things? Metronome?
Yeah, like
metronome kind of people that have
throwing
waited.
spears at each other. It's going to be very difficult for us to then talk story beat by story beat here
because so much happens.
This isn't something that you can dissect in this way. This is like, I mentioned it earlier, and it used Cirque du Soleil performers. This is like a ridiculous petrol fueled fucking dance that goes on for the next like 20 or so minutes.
It is about that straight,
of just intense, like I said, the momentum has not let up at this point, and it doesn't continue to, like, it doesn't put the brakes on at any point. It just keeps getting bigger. It keeps getting more physical.
If you'll pardon the pun, it doesn't put the brakes on it. What I will say, possibly my favourite moment. There's two standout moments from this for me, and I'm sure you'll all have your own individual ones, because it's just like, There are so many moments in this chase that in any other action film, particularly of like the stock of 80s titles that we've been talking about, would be the conversation pieces that you say to your mate in the pub. Oh, do you remember when in Predator Arnie does this or whatever? There are like 15 of those moments in these chase, right? For me, the two best ones are, firstly, when Max uses someone as a human shield against a chainsaw-wielding maniac.
Yeah.
He picks somebody up and puts them in between him and a guy coming at him with a chainsaw, and the guy cuts the guy in half, right? And the second bit, you were talking about this sort of mysterious girl that keeps coming up, the recurring motif of this, and you don't know whether it's a daughter or not. Again, I've mentioned continuity so much, playing fast and loose, like... Maybe he has gone so mad in the wasteland that he doesn't even remember his own child. Yeah. Maybe he is what was once a son in his mind has now morphed into a girl. Or maybe he has lost so many of these surrogate children that he's had over the years that they've all sort of morphed into one composite child. It doesn't really matter. But he has this recurring visage of a child. When somebody shoots at him with a crossbow, he is struck immediately with an image of this kid. Yeah. And as a reflex, right, because he's so terrified of this reoccurring nightmare of this child that he's left to die, he puts his hand up in front of his head as a reflex action to block out the kid coming at him. And by sheer luck, as a fluke, him putting his hand up blocks the fucking arrow from going straight into his head, but the arrow pierces his hand and goes into his forehead,
and it's stuck to him.
He then pulls his hand off of his, because it's been pinned to his head, pulls his hand off of his head, pulls the arrow out of his hand, and then snaps off the bit that's stuck in his cranium. So for the rest of the fight, he has a bit of an arrow sticking out of his forehead. It is the most nuts, insane shit. I fucking love it. I love this movie. Let's put it on. Let's watch it right now. I need to watch this shit right now. Let's put it on.
Also, again, like that bit could so easily not work of it basically being like trauma-powered Spidey senses, but you are so invested in it by this point. You're like, yeah, fuck it. He can just...
And he is so mad that you believe it. In any other world, with any other character, you'd say, you'd be like, oh, fuck off. But it's there's no other world other than Mad Max where you can buy that.
Yeah. It's so good. And again, so it is fascinating to me when we were talking about the sandstorm stuff at the start of this film. How much when we think about this as being like a very practical effect movie, it's weird that little bit weird to me that one of the opening scenes is the most CGI heavy. When you get to this bit, there are now no doubts as to what is being done.
Yeah.
Like it is so, like I said, it has a load of Cirque du Soleil performers. It is so balletic. It is so choreographed, like pitch perfectly.
What I will say, I'm not trying to argue against you or contradict you in any way, Harry. There is way more CGI in this film that people realise, but it's so well implemented that you don't notice it.
I will also say that again in terms of and why I brought up the day to night stuff and like the hyper real, like again I think this film looks hyper realistic in a way that nothing else does. Is also its use of 3D at a time when so many like this is probably one of the best it's a 3D films at the time when everything is doing that, because it is so spectacle based. It isn't trying to be like, look how smart this is. Look how it is just like, no, we're going to throw shit at your face because we're throwing everything everywhere.
The most egregious use of 3D in a 3D marketed movie. As much as I last week when we were talking about, or the week before, we were talking about the Thunderbolts, as much as I really like the Avengers, right? Everything that's come to light with Joss Whedon, put that aside, right? And there is stuff about that movie that hasn't aged well. As much as I love that movie, there is a shot in the beginning of that film where they have 3D elevator cables coming at you. So they're in a. Do you know the bit I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the cinema being like, "What is?" There's a shot where they're going down in a lift and the elevator cables come out of the screen, and it's like, for fuck's sake! But like you say,
this doesn't do that.
It's so tasteful.
Or it's not even tasteful. It's like joyously untasteful. It's like, it's like leaning into it in such a ridiculous, like, just a mental way.
But there is there's way more CGI in this film than people realize, but it's so cleverly disguised.
And it feels so physical.
Yeah, exactly.
Feels
the CGI is used to enhance the stuff that was done.
For sure.
In principal photography,
Yeah.
all the in-camera stuff. They just use CGI to hide the wires and like the
Yes,
whatever,
yeah.
all the seams.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you guys want to? Because I spoke about the chainsaw bit. Do you guys want to talk about your favorite moments from this set piece? Like,
well, this I was about to say. Couple of bits that I noticed was obviously when there's a section where two of the many mothers they kind of fall off their bikes, and one of them is using like the sniper rifle, is like snipering people as cars are driving past them. But the people eater man in his car, he isn't the driver, but he is. It just shows you just how grotesque he is as a person. He runs over, or he takes over the wheel from his driver to specifically run over one of the women and get sexual gratification. You can see him like get sexual gratification on his face from doing that, and it's such a horrible scene due to just for the fact that just that whole section was just horrible. But yeah, that whole, I think it's the same with you, Harry, the fact that they've then got these cars with like these metronome people just picking the wives out and then just going back, and
like dragging so close to like the ground is the bit that always sticks out to me. Like it is so beyond anything that I had seen in a film previous to this. Like nothing tried this. I really like the because obviously at this point Furiosa gets stabbed by one of the I can't remember, by one of the many people, but then when she I think it's when she puts like the hook onto Morton Joe's mask, and he gets caught and just rips his mask and his jaw off. I was just like, whew, because in terms of violence, there isn't actually tons of blood violence in this film until that bit.
Well, this is what I was going to say, right? For a franchise that has become so sort of like synonymous with like going over the top and being mad, right? And there's very little actual gore and viscera. They deny you the goods quite a few times. Going back to the first one, right? Goose in the hospital, you never actually see his disfigurement. You see Max's reaction to it, and you have that fantastic play with the lights and stuff.
Yep.
But you never actually see how gnarly he is. The Lord Humongous in the second film, he's either a mutant or a burn victim or something. He's got something gnarly going on beneath his Jason mask, right? But they never actually take the mask off. Yeah. The Immortan Joe, when he gets his face ripped off, you never see it. Like it's the climax of the movie, and they shy away from it.
The death of the main villain.
Yeah.
There's so much implied horrific imagery and viscera, but you don't actually see it. Would you agree?
No, I do agree. Yeah. That's why it's a lot of implied violence, like you say.
There's not actual. There's not on-screen gore or anything like that. Aside from Wes fingering the hole in his arm with the
There's
crossbow.
actually in going back to Road Warrior, which we keep doing. Harry, you need to see that film. The massive explosion at the end. There are arms and that flying around. It's one of the best explosions I've ever seen on film.
No. Are you talking about the crash or the bit where they blow up the refinery?
When they blow up the refinery, there are some arms flying around.
That is my favourite explosion.
It's such a good explosion. For all of this, it's captured so well.
As much as I glaze Nolan, right, and Harry knows how much I love to worship at the altar of Chris Nolan, right? For all this bluster about we recreated with the equivalency of the power of TNT or whatever, we recreated the nuclear explosion, right? George Miller, in the middle of New South Wales,
in 1980
was able to create an explosion that is 10 times fucking cooler than the climax of Oppenheimer, right? That explosion is my favourite explosion in any movie.
Anyway, Charlie, we got to stop talking about Road Warrior.
For the last sort of half an hour, Charlie looks like he's been fading in and out of consciousness. Are you tired, Charlie?
Yeah.
We've still got another film to get to.
I do apologise.
No, it's fine.
There's so much happens.
Do you have anything? So much that happened. My favourite, like one of the favourite stunts, is where the poles go so close to the cars.
Yeah.
And I've seen the behind the scenes where a couple go wrong, so they have to pull the guy back with ropes just before.
Jesus
So
Christ.
yeah, that was one of my favorite ones. The spear chucking, Furiosa's spear chuck. Nux's, sacrifice, redemption.
Oh yes, yeah, he does sacrifice all day. Oh, and
those are probably my main ones.
He does like a hand movement towards one of the. Well, I can't remember what the hand movement, but he does something towards there that kind of is quite sad to see him.
One of my.
Well, he's basically then doing like the witness me again sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
but but it's with a person that actually cares for him instead of
a god.
Yeah, I was going to say during the bits that we glossed over, like the character development stuff that happens during the chases, right? He develops some sort of like kinship with one of the Immortals'
the redhead.
wives.
I can't
remember the actress's name, but they have some sort of like budding relationship going on. And he says to her at the very end of the chase, we're skipping ahead a bit. He says, "Yeah, I'll jam the causeway and I'll jump over and join you, or whatever." But he sacrifices himself. One of my favorite bits, and what I love about not just this franchise, but loads of, I love it when an action film does this, when a proper seedy, nasty villain gets a real good comeuppance. And the Mad Max films do this quite a lot. I'm thinking about Vernon Wells and the Road Warrior, but when the nipple clamp, the people eater, he's driving his own car, and Max jumps into the car and beats the shit out of him, and then holds him at gunpoint and uses him to drive the car basically vicariously through him.
He knocks him out, and then puts his big ass foot
onto the accelerator,
yeah.
like he's putting it into cruise control.
Yes,
uses his big gout-ridden like
elephantitis foot.
Exactly, to put it into cruise control, and then he crashes the car, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he kills. That was a very satisfying moment for.
Yeah. So yeah, this is pretty much towards the end now. So after Nux sacrifices himself, it's the only bit of, I think, the kind of 3D CGI you're talking about when they blow up
and
the canyon again.
Yeah, and the
like
steering wheel and the guitar.
And the guitar flings forward and flings back. Oh, that's the other thing in that whole fight where Max ends up beating the shit out of having a fight with the guitar guy for a little bit, punch him, and then the guitar guy's just like unconsciously boinging about.
Harry was saying this earlier about how in any other franchise this would be, or any other movie this would be a farce. There is a friend of the podcast who I'm not going to name because I don't know if he'll want his name being mentioned in this, but his letterboxd review of this film when he saw it at the BFI when it came out was just something along the lines of, if you need convincing to see this movie, Mad Max uses a flame-throwing guitar as a melee weapon in the finale of this film. And that's basically like...
Yeah.
In any other movie, that would sound ridiculous, but it works.
Again, it's... Yeah.
Going back to my thing of Max, like, A, barely surviving fights by the skin of his teeth, and B, in some fights, he would get his ass handed to him. He does go up against Rictus. Yes. In the finale, he swings for him, and Rictus just like keeps him at arm's length. He like palms him, where he like fits his entire head in his hand, and just keeps him at arm's length. And like you think to yourself, like if obviously the crash didn't happen, Rictus would have beaten the shit out of him.
Yeah. Well, in that, Rictus pulls the engine out of the car that they're in, doesn't he?
Goes to
and throws a wobbly. And then just, he basically everyone in that company ends up getting fucking crushed to death.
I will say, and you guys are going to hate me here because you all love you all love Fury Road, and I love it as well. I do prefer the chase at the end of the Road Warrior, but just because they do almost the exact same level of high-octane stunts, but without the safety net of computer trickery, and there is absolutely no hiding the seams there, and the stunts were all done like with the same level of speed and ridiculousness, but you can tell that these are all happening for real, and there's no hiding behind digital trickery or CGI masking or anything like that. I mean, to do... We're talking about, two films that are nearly 40 years apart? Yeah. For both of them to have the same level of like white knuckle, insane intensity, and this one was made in 1980, I have to take my hat off to that.
Yeah, 100%.
So this film kind of pretty much after that, it ends with they're back at the Citadel. There's this white sheet covering something, but nobody knows. the dwarf son is at the top looking down. And Max comes out of the car and unveils basically Immortan
The
Joe
body of
with no
Immortan Joe.
jaw.
Yeah.
And he kicks him off, and then all the people all the kind of rejoice and start beating the shit out of his dead body. And then they all chant to let Furiosa up, and they let her back up into the Citadel, and then she basically looks down at Mad Max, who's decided to make his way as he always does.
Quiet exit.
And quiet exit and leaves. And
Because we don't need another hero.
Because we don't need another hero.
Cut to Tina Turner, unfortunately. Not.
But yeah, and then that is the end of Fury Road. I will play. There was another score that Ollie asked me to see if I could grab. And we will play it now because it is one of the best bits of score. I probably think this is the best one out of all of them. This is was known as Brothers in Arms.
So good.
It's just epic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, like we said, out of everything we've talked about, it looks great. Everything about this film is great, and I definitely think that the score is extremely underrated and not talked about enough. That's just another pure example of it as well.
That piece of music was used in the main theatrical trailer for this film. For my money, it's one of the best trailers ever. It's edited amazingly. If you haven't watched that trailer in a while, I went back and rewatched the trailers in prep for this episode. That trailer is amazing, and it is edited to the beat of that song. The film, we haven't even talked about the editing, and that's basically like the MVP of this film. It keeps the pace. Yeah. Edited by Margaret Sixel, who is actually George Miller's wife in real life. Yeah. I don't know whether she edited the trailer. I wouldn't be surprised because it has that same frenetic energy, this high octane. But yeah, this film, it goes at an absolute breakneck pace. There is not an ounce of fat on it.
Yeah.
Nothing is wasted, and it's amazing. I don't really think we have much more to add on it.
No, I don't. I mean, it's. I'd be very surprised if the majority of our listeners haven't seen this.
Yeah. We're very surprised the majority of our listeners are still here at this point.
We do.
No, I'm saying still here at this point. As we were just discussing, we've been going for many hours. So thank you if you have.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, he does. Sorry, we glossed over. He the last sort of line of dialogue from Max is he tells Furiosa his name.
Yes,
that's the first time he
which
says.
He hasn't done up until that point. Yeah.
He sort of shied away from it or deferred when she's asked. He says, "Yeah, my name is Max." And then he wanders off into the wasteland, which is the same thing that he does at the end of every movie. Yeah. He walks off into the wasteland.
So, before we end this eventful 20th episode, Ollie has got a missing scene for us.
Well, yeah, I thought I'd better hand because we are called the Missing Scene Podcast. And we actually very rarely.
Some of us do. Some of us do.
It's usually Harry that keeps keeps face on this and holds the.
Gotta keep the gimmick, man. Again, it's professional wrestling stuff. We need
exactly.
Never break kayfabe.
But I haven't scripted anything. I haven't written anything out. It's not an elaborate scene. I actually have two. One of them's less serious than the other. So my main sort of thing that I would add, and I sort of touched upon this earlier. We were talking about how Max is kind of presented as a bit of a dick, and he's not a conventional hero in the sense of like the other sort of lone gunslinger samurai types that we spoke about. I would have a scene at the very, very start, and this is my love for the Interceptor coming through here because it pains me to think that this car is only in this film for like 30 seconds. I would have a scene right in between the end of his monologue and when he gets kidnapped that basically just shows a bit of a day in the life of Max Rokitansky. So he is out in the wasteland. He
doing his shopping.
I would have it. I would have him framed as a way more grey character, so he's not being chased. Let's have it as maybe he happens upon people who are stranded, or he is chasing down some people, right? And you introduce loads of things like the scarcity. Maybe he hasn't got any rounds left in his gun, or maybe you have a shot of the dash and he's literally just about to hit empty on his car or whatever, and he's chasing down some people and he runs them off the road. Maybe it's a man and a woman, or maybe it's two women, to really show just how evil he can be and what capacity for nastiness Max has. But he runs these people off the road. They're begging for their lives or whatever, or maybe they're injured and he abandons them or whatever, or he kills them outright. But he basically walks up, he siphons the gas out of there, he pulls a massive comical tube out of his like backpack or in the trunk of his car, or not the trunk because he's had that outfitted for gas tanks, hasn't he? So he brings a tube out of somewhere, sticks the tube in their gas tank. Maybe these two guys, maybe this is where you could have had your cameo from Bruce Spence. It's an older guy who's begging for his, he's saying, please, I've got nothing. This is all I've got left. You can't leave me here stranded like this. And Max doesn't say anything to him. Doesn't breathe a word. He does all of this in silence. He runs him off the road, shoots out his tyres or whatever, takes his gas and leaves him for dead. That's it. It doesn't take longer than a couple of minutes. There's no other dialogue in it, and you basically are just introduced to what Max is doing before he gets kidnapped.
I like that.
And it shows him as a nasty guy. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's not like brutish. He doesn't like eviscerate them or torture them or whatever. But maybe he leaves them for dead.
Goes on what's essential, basically.
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
Not like
egregious.
Yeah,
like
but,
He runs them off the road. He takes the gas out of their tank. They're begging for their lives, or they're saying, please take me with you, or something like that. They've got like maybe a broken leg, compound fracture. He just gets in his car and drives off. And it's and then you pick up immediately after that, as he's driving away from this guy that he's left stranded, or this couple that he's left stranded. That's when the war boys pick him up in their scope or whatever, and they start chasing him down. That fulfills my really selfish desire to have more of the Interceptor. Because it's a fucking cool car, and I want to see more of him driving it. And my one thing is annoyed that he doesn't get to use more of it in the film. And B, it just shows that he is a bit of a dick. And then when he does have this sort of like road to Damascus, like change of heart at the climax, and says, "Yeah, I'll help you guys," and he goes back to the Citadel with Furiosa and the mothers and whatnot. It comes as more of a surprise because you've been shown in the opening of the film just how much of a cold-hearted guy he can be, and how adapted to the wasteland he's become. Yeah. So that would be my first missing scene. My second missing scene would be a post-credit scene. Right? There's no dialogue. This lasts for like 30 seconds. Maybe have a title card that says 3 weeks later or something. Doesn't really matter. Some time has elapsed between the end of the film. It's the middle of the desert, right? He walks. You see glorious cinemascope ratio, just panning across the desert. The wreckage of the war rig or the debris from the chase, and this pair of boots walk into frame. Like, who's this? It pans up. You can see the iconic leg brace. So you're like, oh my god, it's Max. He's walking with a bit of a limp. He's walking along. He's flipping over. Maybe he's got a stick or a cane with him or something. He's using something to flip over bits of debris. He's looking for something. He turns around a corner. Maybe there's a rock or a big piece of debris that's obscuring his view. He turns around the corner, and out of the sand dune is sticking the wreckage of the Interceptor from the chase. And then it just cuts up to Tom Hardy. He just smiles. That's it. So you get the impression that he has found his car. Yeah, and I like to think that he's that much of a fucking lunatic that at the end of the movie, even though in the Citadel they've got food and water and milk, and he's fucked off purely to go and find his car, so that he finds it. It cuts up to him. He smiles. Maybe there's like a laughs or something, and then that's it. Just black screen.
I love that.
So that when you pick up in whatever. Fucking in 15 years' time, when 90-year-old George Miller makes the next Mad Max film, he has his car again,
and hopefully this time it doesn't get destroyed.
Yeah,
I like that. That's good.
Sorry,
man, it's all good.
Great.
That to me has the same level of fan wanking. You know when people would say like, "Oh yeah, Boba Fett climbed out of the Sarlacc pit." It shows him in the Mandalorian. Same thing. I want that car back, man. So he finds the car. There you go.
Right. So I think we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna do well. We were gonna slowly talk about Furiosa, but we have just hit the 3-hour 20 mark. We have decided this is going to be a double feature of Mad Max. Part 1 will be Mad Max, the original trilogy, and then Part 2 will be 10th anniversary Fury Road. So you don't get to listen to us all at once. You can listen to us in 2 parts because this is one epic 20th episode we've had, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if you're listening to this now, then you would have, in theory, listened to all of it.
Yes, yeah. But so we will do Furiosa at some point, but it's such, again, that's like a 2.5 hour film. Yeah. There's a lot that happens in this, and there's a lot of, talk about why it didn't do so well at the box office as well, and and so there is a heck of a lot to pack in. Yep. So we will do it at some point, most likely in the near future. So yeah, we will get onto Furious at some point,
and at some point in the distant future, we are going to do a talk about the Road Warrior. Because I think it's sacrilege that I'm sat next to the biggest Fast and Furious fan who hasn't seen the ultimate car-based action movie. So we are going to make Harry, even if we have to do the Ludovico from fucking Clockwork Orange, we're going to make him watch Mel Gibson in The Road Warrior, and then we're going to talk about that as well.
Cool, right. So a couple of plugs. We are on Instagram at The Missing Scene Pod, on X at Missing Scene Pod. We are on Letterboxd as
OJB, all caps, no spaces.
C.U. Westwood.
Daniel Jeeves.
I'm not on Letterboxd still.
Maybe your first one can be when you've watched Road Warrior.
Road Warrior.
Keep a weather eye out on Letterboxd. Watch this space because we will have an official Missing Scene podcast account on there soon, which will encompass all 3 of us, and it'll be a way for us to track the films that we've discussed, and a way for us to just rank some things and put our thoughts and feelings in a more coalesced, condensed.
The 3 of us. Do I not get invited to that one?
Sorry. I feel so sorry.
Don't take it offense.
I'm tired.
Okay. We're all tired.
So yeah, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music every Friday. If you are still listening to us from our very first episode, thank you so much. Hopefully a few more people pick us up.
Yeah, massive appreciation. Like I joke a lot, but yeah, we appreciate anyone that is
much appreciated.
Yep.
Right. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ollie.
I want to say to the 3 of you, and to anybody listening at home, but especially to my 3 friends that are sat here, I often hog the mic. But this week, if you weren't able to tell, Mad Max is a big thing for me. I love it as a kid. I love these films. I have just sat and waffled for 3 hours.
You are all good, mate.
So thank you so much for humouring my...
No it has been a joy.
Thank you, Harry.
You're welcome.
And just quick, you sorry, that didn't come out, did it? Thank you for joining us again, Harry.
Thank you, guys.
And Ollie, you say about waffling on for 3.5 hours. We've still got Furiosa to come. So the waffling hasn't finished yet.
I messaged Charlie about an hour ago on WhatsApp saying when I went to the toilet for my bathroom break, I was like, I'm falling asleep right now. You wouldn't believe it from how much I've spoken, but like we are all so tired. It's midnight now.
Yeah. You just seen it.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for listening, taking your time out to listen to us as well. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
What has been a spectacular 20th episode on Mad Max. So yes, thank you, and listen to us next week. Goodbye.